All right, everybody. So here we are with our receiving, storing, and issuing control section. And the next four videos, we're going to be talking about four different methods of valuing our inventory. So these are methods that we use to determine the overall dollar amount that our inventory is worth that's in our storeroom. Okay. The first one we're going to talk about is FIFO. So a couple of notes for conducting inventory before we get into the actual calculation method for FIFO. You always have one person counting and one person recording. You always want to do inventory with two people so that there's less chance for error or manipulation of numbers. Inventory is one of the most common ways that chefs that understand the process can decrease their food costs by increasing their inventory dollar amount. I can't tell you the number of times that I took over chef positions where I did inventory and it was drastically different from what the previous chef had. Not saying it's every time, and sometimes it's just natural error, but it's a very easy way to lower your food cost artificially. Okay, you always use blank sheets with your printed inventory sheets. Now, what I mean by blank sheets here is some inventory programs will allow you to print out on your sheets how much you had last time you did inventory. So for instance, we're doing inventory the end of June. In the end of May, my sheets tell me I had 10 cases of, I don't know, olive oil, right? So that would show up on my new sheet. You always want to make sure that you do not have that information, because it's far too easy to go, well, we had 10 cases last month. There's got to be at least 8 cases around here, right? So it becomes less accurate, possibly because people are in a hurry and things, can just get copied, right? So always start with blank sheets so you can count specifically all the items that you have physically. Some operations will use handheld scanners. I haven't seen this much in kitchens, but I have seen this in bars where you'd have a scanner even in like an app for your phone where your camera would scan the barcode of the bottle, and then you would just say how full that bottle is and it would set the price based on what you sold or what you purchased it for. Completed sheets include name, quantity, unit, and extended price for each item. So nowadays some places are doing this electronically with a tablet or a laptop, but whatever sheet, whether it's paper or electronic, should have all of these items on here. Should have what is the product, how much we had, what's the unit size, and what's the price, right? And then the extended value for all of those units. When do we do the inventory? We want to do it when we're the least busy, so that there's a less chance of product moving around. So we're going to try and do it when it's closed. We're not expecting any deliveries. In a lot of operations, I did inventory happened the first Sunday of the month or the last Sunday of a month before brunch opened, depending on if you had brunch. You had the least number of employees in, like we would come in at 5 in the morning and get it done before any of the other employees came in, so that product didn't move. And I mean this by, for instance, a Sunday morning brunch. I go into cooler A and we have 10 cases of eggs. Well, and then the breakfast cook comes in and takes 4 of those cases up to the line, and I go up to the line and count those cases again. I've already counted those, but I don't know because people have moved things around. So you want to do inventory when there's less chance of doubling up the count, okay? So when we do valuing inventory, we're going to figure out what our extension is of the total value of the number of units we have. So for instance, if we had eggs, right, like I talked about a second ago, if we had 14 cases of eggs and they were $20 a case, we would just simply multiply the $14 by the $20 to get our extension and our total amount, right? Now, note the price per unit is not always obvious, since the prices may change with each order. If we had 10 cases of eggs came in and they came with different orders, the price of eggs could have gone up and down with that order. So what is the actual price of each one of those cakes or cases? So that's what we're going to talk about with the different methods of valuing inventory. So the first one we're going to go through in this video is FIFO. And that's a way that it follows the natural flow of goods that as you ordered them. And I'll explain it when we actually get to that section. But as an overview, we also have LIFO. And LIFO stands for last in, first out, and I will explain that one in the next video. We have weighted average, actual cost method, and most recent price. So we're going to do 4 videos. The first one, this one, we're going to talk about FIFO. Then I'll do a LIFO, a weighted average, and a most recent price. I'm not going to do one for actual cost because actual cost method is actually the same as FIFO if you're actually rotating your products properly. Actual cost, you would actually label the case or label the products with the price when they came in, right? So first in, first out assumes cost is based on the most recent invoice and only progresses back in time if there is more inventory that can be accounted for in the latest invoice. Now that can sound confusing just reading those words there. Hopefully my example here will make it more clear. So in this example, a restaurant has 140 pounds of flour in inventory on August 20th. And those were our 3 purchases. On August 3rd, we bought 50 pounds at $23 for 50 pounds. On August 10th, we bought 50 pounds at $24 for a 50-pound bag. And on August 11th, we bought 100 pounds, or on August 17th, we bought 100 pounds at $23.50 per 50-pound bag. So using FIFO, we're going to determine what that 150 pounds of flour is worth. Okay? So if we look down at my screen here, I've drawn a little picture with a nice, cute little chef there. And what that chef is going to do is representing is what products he's going to use first. So you notice this is a shelf in the black line here. So I've placed these orders on the shelf following first in, first out. Our first order was August 3rd, where we bought 50 pounds at $23 for that 50-pound bag. So that's the product the chef would use first, right? And then after that product, they would move on to the order that came in on August 10th. And then they would move on to the order that came in on August 17th, right? So what of these orders is left? We have 140 pounds, right? So we're going to have all of that 100 plus most of this 50-pound order. This first one on August 3rd, we've used that all up. So really we're going to take our pricing based on these two newer values, right? So what we need to do though is figure out a price out of this. What was our price for 100 pounds? Well, we paid $23.50 for 50 pounds, right? So, and we had 100 pounds. So $23.50 times 2 gives us $47 for this order here, right? Now the trick comes in, well, out of that $24 of this order, we only have 40 pounds left, right? Because this was 100 pounds and we had 140, so I'm looking for 40 pounds out of this order. So we need to figure out what our price per pound is, and we can do that by taking our $24 and dividing by 50 to give us a price per pound of 48 cents per pound. If we had 40 pounds, we multiply times 40, and we end up with $19.20. So our FIFO valuation, okay, Ben, FIFO equals our $47 plus our $19.20, which will give us a total of $66.20. The key with this method is recognizing that we are counting what's left in our storeroom because it matches the natural flow of goods. We're not going to count these first August 3rd ones that are closest to the chef because he would have used those ones first, right? Our valuation is this entire order of 100 pounds plus 40 pounds from this one to make up our 140 pounds of flour. All right, that's the FIFO method. The next video I'm going to talk about will be the LIFO method, or last in, first out.